Thank you, Colonel. I want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Lamar Payne, a colleague, parliamentarian in Ottawa, Colonel Dave Anderson, Major James Kawara, Lieutenant Colonel Nick Seeley-Thompson, representing the British Army, who's with us, Dr. Cam Boulay, and of course our members of the Canadian Forces, our international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and I want to say how pleased I am to be back here on the base, at Canadian Forces Base Suffield. It's great to be here in sunny Alberta. I hope everybody has their sunscreen on today for such a glorious afternoon. And it's always, in fact, a pleasure to be in this vibrant part of the world, and in particular on this base, taking in all of the spectacular work that's being done by our men and women in uniform, very much a part of the Canadian Forces presence across the country. And I also know what an important economic driver our Canadian Forces are, locally, nationally, and of course internationally. On this afternoon, I'm pleased to be here to bring some good news that will in fact benefit the local economy in Suffield and around the region, and will also be important to those of you who work and live and train right here on the base. Our government understands the importance of what the Canadian Forces accomplish for and on behalf of our country. In particular, we appreciate the hard work and sacrifice made by members of the Canadian Forces and our allies here at home and around the world. And that's why through our Canada First Defence Strategy, the Government of Canada is committed to providing you with the best available equipment, training, care, and support to ensure that you have what you need to do the important, difficult, and sometimes dangerous work that is required. This includes the best possible infrastructure, buildings, roads, training facilities, and more. And our government is proud of the significant investments that we are making to refurbish facilities at bases, ports, and wings across the country, including right here at CFB Suffield. Anyone who visits Suffield can't help but be impressed by the expansive prairie landscape of the Suffield block. In fact, the open plains of this area are key to Suffield's success and all that it offers to our Canadian Forces and our allies. It is a big place that is ideal for the range of military training and research activities that take place here. And for now over 70 years, Suffield has been critical to our military's work in the protection of Canadians and the defense of Canada. As you know, Suffield started off as a joint British and Canadian chemical experimental station during the Second World War. Over time, it developed into what we have here today, a modern and versatile base, with DRDC Suffield and Canadian Forces Base Suffield co-located on the same land. And while they are certainly distinct entities, both are vital to our protection and promotion of national security. DRDC Suffield is a one-of-a-kind center of excellence that protects and saves Canadian lives through its work in particular in chemical, biological, and blast research. While CFB Suffield is a world-class military facility and a go-to location for one of our closest allies, it continues to serve internationally as a place where people come to learn and train and work together. It is host to one of the largest live fire exercises and areas in the Western world, and it has been a key training ground not only for Canadian Forces, but particularly over the years our NATO partner allies and the British in particular. Each year since the early 1970s, the British Army Training Unit Suffield, or BATIS, has conducted armored exercises at this base. Canada and the United Kingdom have enjoyed this arrangement so much that in 2006 our countries agreed that British forces would continue their exercises at Suffield indefinitely. This, of course, we feel is a win-win situation. British forces get access to training opportunities that are simply unavailable in the UK, and I would submit most parts of Europe. And Canada can continue to benefit from a well-established, positive training relationship with our long-standing ally and close friend. In fact, I was very pleased to be in London just last week to meet with my British counterpart, Secretary of State for Defence Philip Hammond, and it was a great pleasure to reinforce the deep bond that exists between Canada and the United Kingdom. Our nations have a relationship that has been forged in war and peace, most notably through 2 world wars and almost every major conflict in more than a century, including, of course, most recently in Afghanistan and Libya. CFB Suffield is not only a key training facility for the Canadian Forces, our British allies, it is also a symbol of cooperation, shared values, and mutual respect for the people of our countries that we have for one another. And just like the trust that has been built up between us over the years, CFB Suffield is growing. Today, I am pleased to announce $17 million in new infrastructure investments here at Canadian Forces Base Suffield. This investment will ensure that the base continues its critical role in our military success well into the future. And in accordance with our abiding agreement with one another, these projects will be jointly funded by Canada and the United Kingdom. The cost-sharing approach is not only effective, it also underscores the close cooperation that our two countries have enjoyed on the base for more than 40 years. The first of these projects is a new range control building that will control all military air and ground traffic in the base on the training area, and construction, as you would know, is well underway. And when it's finished in the next month or so, this multi-purpose facility will house both offices and administration areas, accommodations for the duty staff, and garages for equipment storage. This new building is needed to keep pace with the increased tempo and training that we've experienced in recent years. And it will improve the command and control of traffic to and from the range training areas. It will also keep you and your colleagues safe during training. The second project I would mention is the construction of the new fire hall building, which I had the pleasure to tour just a few moments ago. It will replace the existing facility that is just behind us here as you enter the base. This facility has simply become outdated and undersized for the requirements for both personnel, equipment, and the vehicles required here at CFB Suffield. And I'm told by LeVar Payne that there is a very close working relationship with local communities, where the fire department will very often work in unison with local municipal units. The fire hall will also incorporate a vehicle garage, workshop, storage, accommodation, and training space, and should be up and running sometime in late September. And finally, I'm pleased to announce 7 new contracts for a number of smaller improvements to base infrastructure with a total value of just over $1.1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, these new investments will contribute to Suffield's infrastructure renewal. They will stimulate economic activity and create jobs right here in the region. And in fact, work flowing from today's announcement, I'm told, will generate close to 90 new job opportunities over the course of the project's completion. Skilled tradespeople, equipment operators, suppliers, and others will all benefit from the new and ongoing improvements here at the base. So I view this very much as a good news story for all involved. And ladies and gentlemen, today's announcement is just part of the good news story of what's taking place across the country. I would pause here for a moment just to say a special word of thanks to our Canadian Forces firefighters. They play an important role throughout the country, particularly here in Alberta. We've seen them engaged in a number of important responses to forest fires, to local incidents, both natural disasters, chemical spills. They play an increasingly important role for the Canadian Forces across the country and integrate, as mentioned, in many cases with other civilian emergency response units. So I want to specifically thank them for their important role.